Hello, friends. I don't know whether I'm actually going live or not. I think I am. Yay. Okay. Listen, in the world of AI and, all the noise, I'm actually more committed than ever to come in here and stream live more often for you all. And make sure that we have this like human connection when it comes to sharing insights, sharing content. So you guys let me know as I do these little mini workshops going live with you if you appreciate them. Let me know in the chat. Let me know what topics you want to hear about, as a matter of fact. Today is about if you want to make five figures daily in your business, you need to stop doing this one thing in your messaging. That is my key message for you today. So if that is you, you should listen in, okay? That's what we're going to talk about today. The one thing that you're probably doing in your messaging that you're overdoing, I see it all the time, and that is that you're only speaking to the pain of your ideal client and you're losing premium buyers. And I'm going to break this down for you. That's what we're going to do over the next 10 or 15 minutes. Okay. The secret to converting high level clients isn't naming their struggle. Okay. It isn't naming their struggle. Yes, we do need to talk about their symptoms and how it shows up for them. That is a whole nother topic I'll get into on a different day. But most of you are wildly overdoing calling out the pain, and you're not claiming and calling out their craving. And when I say craving and their desire, I don't mean what you think I mean. I don't mean the solution. Okay. I don't mean the solution. Okay. It's more of an emotional pull. We're going to talk about this in just a minute. Now, speaking only to the pain, which some of you are doing, is going to be a sponge to lack and scarce minded and broke leads. They are going to commiserate with you in the comment section. They are going to be like, yes, that is me. I am so struggling with that. You can get tons of engagement by marketing to the pain, but it doesn't equate to paying clients. It actually equates to lack scarce clients who ghost when you send them the link to purchase. Okay. So what I want to do over the next couple of minutes is I'm going to continue to introduce you all to this 4-part mirror messaging framework that, by the way, I'm going to go super deep into in my upcoming masterclass. I'll drop a link below when I'm done live and you can go register for it if you're like, yes, I need the deets. But I want to spend a couple minutes reminding you of this 4-part mirror messaging framework. But I want to go into a deep dive of the opposite of what you're doing wrong. Instead of going into the depths of the pain, I want to talk to you a little bit about going into the depths of desire from an emotional and aspirational pull that pulls your premium client forward, allows you to book clients without consults. We closed almost $100,000 in sales in a $12,000 offer over the past couple of weeks without a single sales call. Okay. This is because we're activating and positioning from a desired based place because premium clients are action takers. Premium clients want to go from good to great. They want to go from great to delusional. They don't want to stay stuck. They don't identify with staying stuck. If they sat down and across from you with a cup of coffee, the first thing they do is not going to be to unload on you all of their problems. Okay. So you've gotten maybe really good at naming the pain. Maybe you've had other mentors that are like, you got to lean into the pain. You got to lean into the problem, right? Maybe your post hit hard and people are like, that is me, right? But here's the problem. Awareness doesn't equal conversion. Okay. I'm going to say it again. Awareness doesn't equal conversion. How many of you get lots of engagement when you talk about the struggle, but people aren't purchasing, right? You can get 100 people nodding in agreement and join a negative bandwagon, by the way, without a single person buying. Or maybe you're filling your offers with scarce, lack, broke people who never move out of your lowest ticket because you marketed to lack, my friends. Okay. If you master just the side of pain messaging, you've forgotten the pull of the desire. Okay. That's where the mirror messaging framework number 2 is desire. I'm going to remind you, I talked about this yesterday. Again, I'm going to go deep into this in my masterclass. But the mirror messaging framework effortlessly folds all four notes into content, and that is symptoms, desire, identity, and the premium lens. All four. Okay. And we'll go into the depths of all of these in the masterclass. But today, I want to talk about desire, right? Because when we hit on all four notes and specifically we get the desire piece right, it is the key to high converting content that generates sales. We have generated multiple sales this morning without me being on screen, without me selling my face off live, right? It's through my content and how I am activating the premium client to yes. Okay. So today I want to jump right into the desire, the aha moment for your ideal client, right? Because many of you are already overdoing the symptom problem. Okay. We'll come back to symptoms later, right? Because great messaging, it doesn't just make people feel seen. Okay. As a matter of fact, broke, scarce, lack people love to be seen. They love to complain about their problems. You don't want to attract them. Sorry. Newsflash, right? Premium clients want to see the next step. They know they were made for greatness, right? At least the confident premium client does. They want to know that you see where they're headed, what they're capable of, right? So we want the desire driven, like we want to give value and insight, right? So again, what most creators are doing wrong, even from the desire state, is you're talking about results, and that's all you're talking about, right? You're not talking about the desire, okay? These are different, friends. These are different. Your client doesn't want a six-figure month. That does not connect emotionally, right? What they want is a peace of mind that comes from the repeatable income of the six-figure months. It's the emotion behind the recurring predictable six-figure months. What they do with that peace of mind. It is an emotional tie, right? They don't want to lose 20 pounds. They don't want to lose 20 pounds. I just wanted to look really good and confident on stage in my outfit. It would translate in energetically into everything I did every day on stage at my live event to be in the best of shape, right? It is the desired emotional state. It is not the goal. It is not the result, okay? So the secret, desire-based messaging lives in emotion, not metrics. So write that down, right? The desire-based messaging lives in emotion, not metrics. Okay. So I'm going to give you, because I know you're probably like, well, give me some, you guys want some examples? Whoo, it's getting hot in here. I'm going to turn my air conditioner on. I'm going to give you some examples. Okay. So I'll give you some examples in my industry. And then some of you are going to be like, well, that's great, Melissa, but I'm not a business coach. Awesome. I'm also going to give you one from like a consulting perspective who's in the mindset coaching space. How about that? Okay. We'll do both. Okay. So let me give you an example. So for me, when I think about desire-based marketing, right? Because I know that I'm marketing to a sub niche category of business owners who are high performing in their premium. Okay. So here are four areas I know are desires of my ideal client. As a matter of fact, if you're listening to this, you're probably my ideal client. So let me know in the chat as I read these off to you if they resonate more deeply than an actual metric. Okay. So number one, category of one positioning. Okay. That in itself is just the desired result. That doesn't give the emotion, right? You don't just want category of one positioning. I know that's the result, but how it shows up for you is you want to feel instantly recognized as the leader in their space, right? Not just another coach, not just another consultant. You want an authority so freaking strong that it magnetizes ideal clients into your inbox without daily hustle. You want to wake up and get a cup of coffee and open up your DMs and your dream clients are already in your inbox asking you how to work with you. Do you see how different that is emotionally than me saying, you want sales, right? Very different. Another thing, business that scales without chaos. Again, that's a result. I could market you, you want a business that scales without chaos, or I can talk about it emotionally. So you want a back end that runs like a high performance machine, clean, simple, predictable, so that you have confidence that every action is compounding long-term revenue so that you don't feel like you've got duct tape that you're ripping off with your teeth and giving CPR to your business trying to keep it going every 30 days. Do you see how different that was? Did I connect with some of you emotionally there? Right? Did I connect with you emotionally versus just saying, you want a business that scales, right? Okay. So desire is really, really important. I'll give you two more in my area. Fast strategic growth. That's the solution. Fast strategic growth. But how does it show up? Desire emotionally. The shortest, cleanest route to the next income milestone without compromising your lifestyle. Being able to still go to yoga at noon, right? Leveraging proven frameworks that replace 6 months of sitting in a vacuum trying to figure it out by yourself, like watching all the free YouTube channels and downloading all the freebies, getting massive clarity in one afternoon by sitting with the system in the process. Do you see how different that is from a desired state emotionally than me saying, you want strategic growth? Right? We have to connect emotionally. The last thing I'll say for me and my clients is identity expansion. And many of them don't even know that they struggle with this, right? How it shows up for them is they actually deep down inside, these are the things they would never say out loud. Some of you would never say this out loud, but you're feeling it. To fully own and embody your role as founder, right? And a CEO in the digital led space, to shift your identity from employee to founder. And you don't want to say that out loud, right? To have the same confidence online as you did leading your business offline. Oof. Like some of you were like, shit. Yes. Do you see how different that is than me saying, you desire an identity expansion, right? Very different. I could do this all day long. Okay. So that's my industry, right? Well, you're like, well, Melissa, what about somebody else's industry? Well, I happen to be prepping for another client in a workshop this afternoon, and I was preparing some feedback for her. So you are so lucky. I'm going to use her content as an example. So she's a female physician for burnt out female doctors, right? She's phenomenal, right? So what she could market. So how many of you guys are working with burnt out individuals? Maybe you're doing some emotional or energetic work, right? So what she could market is, you want freedom in your calendar. That's a desire, right? You want freedom in your calendar. But no, let's talk about the desire of the freedom in the calendar. What does it look like? How does it feel? So for her, it's coffee in the sunlight with no dread or this racing pulse before the clinic starts, right? It's a schedule that she designed with white space for thinking and creating and breathing. She wants the power to say yes or no without guilt or without fallout. That is way more powerful than you want freedom in your calendar. Right? Is this resonating for some of you that are watching with me live? Let me know over on LinkedIn if you're watching with me live, if this is resonating for you. I've got to wrap this up in a minute. Another couple of examples for this particular type of client, right? Who coaches burnt out physicians. We could say, you want to be fully present with your kids and your partner and your life, right? Maybe even you could say that without guilt or collapse, right? We're speaking to the desire, but not emotionally. Let's talk about how that feels, right? You don't want to be snapping at your kids for asking simple questions after work, right? Been there? You don't want to go to dinner. You want to go to dinner with your partner and not be in a fog. You want to actually be excited to have a conversation with them instead of being totally drained and zoned out and dreading it, right? You want to be able to take a real vacation without checking your EHR under the table, right? That is granular when we get to the desire, right? That is so much further emotionally than you want to be fully present. Do you guys, this is $100,000 a month difference in how you are marketing, how you are showing up, how you are cutting through the noise of AI, how you are showing up to your premium client. Okay. Do you guys want some more? Let me give you two more. She wants to know without a shadow of a doubt that she's not too much or she's not too soft. Okay. We're calling it out, but that's not emotional, right? How can we call that out emotionally? She finally believes that her softness is a strength. She trusts her emotional wisdom more than the institutional rules, right? She no longer feels like a liability. She feels like a lighthouse. Guys, are you seeing the difference? I could go on and on and on. I've got a ton here, but I've got to wrap up because I've got a coaching call for some of my clients, right? So let me just kind of wrap up here. This is why most content doesn't convert. It stops at awareness. You're either marketing just to the pain or you're so superficial with a desired state. You're just calling out the result and you're not tying in the emotion behind it. Your audience might feel seen, but they don't feel summoned. They aren't getting the pull from the premium client, right? That's the power of mirror messaging. And it helps you speak to both sides of the human experience. The pain that anchors them, and we're going to talk about this and how we do this properly in my Messaging That Sells Masterclass, and the desire that moves them. We have to have a sandwich. It has to be the peanut butter and the jelly, right? Or you're going to have a list full of broke, lack people who are on your bandwagon of pain and never buy, right? So inside Messaging That Sells, and I'll drop the link, I'm going to be running this masterclass. It'll be the last one this year. I'm breaking down this in full detail with examples, rewrites, live feedback. There's even an opportunity for a VIP afternoon with me. You can actually formulate your messages that sell for you, right? You'll learn how to craft content that activates desire naturally. So premium clients don't just nod. They're DMing you saying, you were in my head. You were saying the thing I didn't even know that I was feeling, right? So the link is going to be in the comment section. If your audience isn't converting, my friends, let's not start with like blowing up your offer. Most likely it's your messaging. Let's do a root cause analysis and start there. You can't just mirror the pain. You have to mirror the possibility with emotion, not result. I hope that you guys got that. Premium buyers aren't buying escape. They aren't buying escape. They're buying expansion. They're buying expansion. And when you can put words to what they quietly crave most and get in their head, you stop chasing clients. You stop chasing clients and you start attracting them effortlessly in the noise of AI. This is how you cut through the noise, and your premium clients are throwing their credit card at you. So if you're ready to master this, come join us in the Messaging That Sells Masterclass. We're going to be going deep on this, on the 4-part framework, because your content shouldn't just connect, friends. You shouldn't just have followers. It should be converting. We're in business. It should be converting premium clients, right? So register now before the doors close. Hope to see you live in just a couple of weeks.